Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this.
Liverpool news. Mo Salah sale not ruled out as position taken on Star's contract dilemma. Liverpool are edging towards a return to Premier League action as the reigning champions hope to get their season back on track. Just 3 days remain before they host Nottingham Forest, with their 3-0 loss to Manchester City preceding the most recent international break. Morale looked to be on the up before their defeat at the Etihad Stadium, which came after wins over Aston Villa and Real Madrid. However, Arne Slot's side were outclassed in Manchester and put an almighty dampener on the ray of hope that shone upon the Reds' season, while dealing with what has so far been a dismal defense of their Premier League crown. Reports surrounding Mohamed Salah's future have loudened recently. The uncertain future of Andy Robertson has also become a topic of discussion. Here, YNWA Football takes a look at some of the headlines surrounding ANFILD. Mohamed Salah potential sale. It was only several months ago that Salah put pen to paper on a new Liverpool contract that would tie him down until 2027. However, his drop in form has led to rumors that the Egyptian's relationship with Liverpool could end earlier than that. A successor to the legendary winger will likely be on the agenda next summer, but that doesn't necessarily mean a sale will be greenlit for the 33-year-old. However, it's a likely scenario, according to former Liverpool goalkeeper David James, who believes there's a scenario that would suit both parties in the event of Salah's exit. Speaking to Goal, the ex-England man said, "Liverpool didn't have to sign Mo Salah and Mo Salah didn't have to sign for Liverpool. I mean, in the end, the deal that he signed would have been right for both parties, and I think if there came a time. And I know Liverpool aren't unique in this, but most of the reasoning behind signing players will be the numbers they're producing, so you could envisage a situation where Mo's numbers aren't what Liverpool need. And if there were a potential suitor somewhere else, then I'm sure with conversation, because Mo does have a say in it, that Liverpool would be willing to let him go. Under contract, I don't think I could see a situation where Mo's going to hang around just to get paid." Salah turned down the allure of the Saudi Pro League in 2023, but James believes another heavy offer from the Middle East could prove too much for the Reds to resist for their aging icon. "I think there would be a situation where, through conversation, because I know the dialogue with Liverpool is always really good, that the two parties would sit down and discuss the future," he explained. However, if Mo starts doing what Liverpool would like him to do, and Mo I'm sure would like to do, and starts scoring loads of goals, then their hand could be forced by a potential suitor, because whatever club is interested, Saudi logically, as they're the ones with the money, they may make an offer that Liverpool can't refuse. Andy Robertson's future. Robertson entered the international break back in the starting G for Liverpool, ending Milos Kerkez's run of 9 league matches. The 31-year-old, alongside Ibrahima Konate, is unsure of his future at Anfield, with his contract expiring at the end of the season. He recently admitted that talks have not begun on a renewal, which could bring an end to what has been a glittering career with the club. Ex-Liverpool midfielder Jason McAteer claimed the Reds will offer Robertson a new deal, but the Scotsman has built such a legacy at Anfield that should he want to move in the summer, the club will respect his wishes. It is a funny one with Andy Robertson and Liverpool. Really, the former Republic of Ireland international said, "I think from how he has served Liverpool in his career, I think it will more be a case of Liverpool giving him the option. They won't stand in his way if he wants a move to Celtic. I am sure he will be offered a new deal, but obviously on different terms." Liverpool has come to the point where Manchester City were last season, where they have exhausted their team, really. Jurgen Klopp exhausted the team, but he had great success with James Milner, Jordan Henderson, Adam Lallana, etc. When Milner left, I worried for Liverpool. A lot of football goes on in the dressing room and on the training ground. Leaders are few and far between. Leadership today is talked about in different ways. You can lead by example, lead vocally and in all different ways. Arne Slot about to unleash Hugo Ekitike plan Liverpool has only seen for 62 minutes. Last season, Liverpool had 5 senior attacking options, plus the rarely used Federico Chiesa, to call upon as Arne Slot's side won the Premier League title. After a summer of changes, the Dutchman kept Chiesa and now has 4 others: Alexander Isak, Hugo Ekitike, Cody Gakpo, and Mohamed Salah. You could argue that Florian Wirtz should count as a forward. And then there is YNWA to suggest that Liverpool was wasting money by making a signing for the sake of it when it agreed to spend $169 million, £125 million, on Isak shortly after splashing a cool $106 million, £79 million on Ekitike. Then is nonsense. Slot wants to have two players in each position, ideally, and going into the campaign with just one number 9 would have been madness. So too would buying a worse player than Ekitike. So there was a clearer pecking order. Competition is exactly what drives success. Luis Diaz, for instance, played better than ever before at Liverpool last season, at least in terms of his goal and assist numbers, primarily because he was battling for a spot with Gakpo between the two left wingers. They scored 35 times in all competitions. It is likely, in part because of freshness and in part down to competition, that neither would have reached such heights without the other. Having Isak and Ekitike is a similarly beneficial scenario for the pair, and there is no question that the latter would have been aware of the interest in the former when he was signed first, rejecting several other clubs, including Chelsea, to move to Anfield. He's a very good player, Ekitike said of Isak after the Champions League win over Eintracht Frankfurt when they started together. I know in time we need to work together and find a good association, but the links will come and it will work. That match in Germany, against Ekitike's former club, is the only game so far in which they have been named in the same starting sheet. They have played 62 minutes alongside each other in total in the coming weeks. Though, as Isak's fitness increases, it is surely a plan that will have to be replicated. Right now, Ekitike is deserving of a regular spot in the starting sheet because of his performances. At the same time, Arne Slot knows that the only way to get Isak up to speed is to play him. After breaking the British transfer record to snap Isak up from Newcastle, he isn't going to sit on the bench forever. At the same time, Ekitike is also making himself a must. That leads to only one conclusion: the Liverpool striking duo, in addition to rotating a little to keep each other fresh and avoid further injuries, will inevitably end up playing together more often. After spending so much to bring them in during the summer, that should hardly be a surprise. But the time will soon come for Slot's $275 million plan to get another outing. Alisson Becker, Jeremy Frimpong, Alexander Isak, Liverpool injury news and return dates. Liverpool returned to Premier League action at home to Nottingham Forest on Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. The visit of Sean Dyche's side gives the defending champions the chance to close the gap on leaders Arsenal. That gap stands at 8 points, after Liverpool lost their last match before the international break in dispiriting fashion as they went down 3-0 at Manchester City, but with Arsenal not playing until Sunday, when they host North London rivals Tottenham Hotspur. It does represent an opportunity for the Reds to apply a little pressure. Not that Arne Slot is thinking about the title. He admitted as much after the defeat to City. His sole concentration will be on returning to winning ways against a Forest side who are showing signs of improvement after the appointment of former Everton boss Dyche. And the good news for the Liverpool head coach is that, barring any unreported new injuries, he should have close to a full-strength squad available. Alisson Becker has been absent with the hamstring injury he sustained in the 1-0 Champions League loss at Galatasaray on September 30. It was always expected that the Reds' first choice goalkeeper would be sidelined for up to 6 weeks, but there appears a chance he could return against Forest after Slot said ahead of the trip to the Etihad. Alisson for sure, and I expect Jeremy back after the international break as well because we play from November until March, but I don't expect Jeremy to be fully fit for Forest. But with Alisson, we expect this. Yes, Jeremy Frimpong. The Jeremy that Slot speaks of above is, of course, Jeremy Frimpong. The summer signing from Bayer Leverkusen has been sidelined since being forced off in the early stages of the 5-1 Champions League win at Eintracht Frankfurt on October 22 with a thigh injury. Given the words of his manager 12 days ago, it would appear the encounter with Forest will come too early for the right-back. In a message on Snapchat recently, Frimpong delivered an encouraging update though, working hard to be back soon. £70 centre-back closing in on Liverpool transfer. Richard Hughes is now closing in on signing a £70 million defender. The next phase in Liverpool's plans is definitely to reinforce the centre-back department. It's a position that is very questionable right now. So much is up in the air about Ibrahima Konate's future. Joe Gomez just simply doesn't seem to have the trust of the Liverpool head coach either. Meanwhile, Virgil van Dijk is not getting any younger. At this stage he's likely on his last Liverpool contract, and that expires in less than 2 years. Without those three, there's no one else really at Liverpool with any considerable experience. Giovanni Leoni is highly rated, of course, but he's still young, and it remains to be seen how he recovers from his injury. Ultimately, Liverpool need more centre-backs, and the next few years will be about that. Everyone is talking about Marc Guéhi right now, who seems destined to join Liverpool after coming so close in the summer window. Whether it's January or next summer, the deal looks inevitable, just as a deal looks inevitable for Jarell Quansah. 2. When Hughes agreed to sell him in the summer window, he definitely thought about bringing him back to the club. He didn't just let him join Bayer Leverkusen. He put £70 million agreement in place to buy back Quansah from Leverkusen, as per a recent report. And their agreement goes even further. As we wrote previously, Liverpool also have a pre-agreement for a contract with Quansah. If that £70 million buyback clause was triggered, Hughes would not have done that if he didn't seriously consider him as a future option at Anfield. Liverpool officials still hold him in high regard. It's merely that they knew that he needed regular minutes to develop in order to reach his full potential. Now, Quansah is getting those minutes at Leverkusen and seriously catching the eye. On top of that, he's just made his senior England debut, finally earning that recognition after participating multiple squads. The way the 22-year-old is going, it's becoming inevitable that he's going to end up at Anfield again, every game and every time Quansah plays. He looks better and better, and he's closing in on a move back to Liverpool in the process. £70 million in this day and age for a centre-back of his ilk is still a lot of money to pay. But Quansah is worth every penny. Not only is he elite, but he's also homegrown and an academy product. The value of that cannot be understated. Antoine Semenyo verdict split as Liverpool. January transfer window risk obvious. Liverpool may have spent more than £300 million revamping their forward line over the summer, but if reports are to be believed, they could yet be in the market for another attacking addition. The Reds are one of the clubs credited with interest in informed Bournemouth winger Antoine Semenyo. The 25-year-old is enjoying an electrifying season. He is the joint third top scorer in the Premier League after netting 6 goals in 11 games, including 2 on the opening night of the season at Anfield when Liverpool scored twice late on to win for 2-2. Only 3 players have more assists than the Ghana international's return of 3-2. But what makes Semenyo an even more attractive proposition is his price tag. The Athletic reported this week that he could be signed for £65 million during the January transfer window due to a release clause inserted into the new Cherries contract he signed in July. Capable of playing on both the left and right wings, Semenyo is sure to be in demand in the new year. But should the Reds, after the arrival of the £125 million Alexander Isak, the £116 million Florian Wirtz, and the £79 million Hugo Ekitike, join the likes of Manchester City, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur in the battle for his signature Mark Jones, can you have too much of a good thing? On the face of it, Liverpool shouldn't turn down the opportunity to sign one of the best players in the Premier League in January. But a couple of things would have to fit into place for it to be a wise move. Firstly, surely Federico Chiesa would have to pack his bags and his excellent song and return to Italy. There would simply be no place for him in the squad anymore if Antoine Semenyo was added. And secondly, you'd probably have to get Mo Salah onside over the addition, as signing Semenyo for £65 million would represent the first time there's been a big outlay on a right-sided attacker since the arrival of the Egyptian. I think I'm somewhat torn. On the one hand, this is a Liverpool squad that has struggled to bed in new players, with results suffering, and so do they really need another one added to the mix. But on the other, Semenyo is Premier League proven and has been excellent for a couple of seasons now. There aren't many better right-sided attacking options available to Liverpool at that price. Maybe the ideal outcome would be to get him to wait until the summer, when his release clause will reportedly drop again, although doing that would rely on him rebuffing interest from elsewhere this winter, which might be difficult given his growing profile. So in short, if other suitors move for him in January, then Liverpool should too. It'll be fun to watch at least, won't it? Stephen Killen. It's no real surprise to see Antoine Semenyo being linked with Liverpool. For a club of the Reds' stature, they should be eyeing the best and most informed players in Europe's top divisions. Last summer showed that the tide is changing for Liverpool, and their financial might can now make them one of the best clubs in the world. Semenyo is closing in on 100 Premier League matches and is still only 25. And the question looming over Anfield, especially in light of Mohamed Salah's difficult start to the season, is who can replace the Egyptian. Semenyo has the qualities to do just that. Arne Slot and the Liverpool backline know well enough the dangers he possesses, and the best way to avoid being hurt by his strengths, again, is by signing him. This January seems like the best moment and most opportune to sign him. Liverpool have prided themselves with being shrewd buyers, and with reports suggesting Manchester City, Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur are among those interested, the Reds can send a reminder about where they sit in the food chain, as they did with the signings of Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo. A January move would ease pressure on Salah after AFCON, but also allow a betting-in period where Semenyo can hit the ground running. A reported £65 million or a Premier League proven forward is not to be dismissed, and Liverpool should be interested in a player of his quality, with the prospect of providing support and competition to Salah. Semenyo could thrive under the tutelage of a Liverpool icon, which would be the perfect foundation for a successful career on Merseyside. Sam Hackett: there's no doubt Antoine Semenyo has all the attributes to succeed at a top club, but whether he's the answer to Liverpool's early season problems is a completely different debate. Arne Slot's lack of consistency in his lineups this campaign has been called into question, and adding a £65 million forward to his already revamped attacking armory could create more problems than solutions. The assumption I'd make is the Ghanaian would come in to rival Cody Gakpo for Liverpool's left-wing spot for now, before becoming Mohamed Salah's long-term replacement on the right. However, despite mixed opinions from fans on the Dutchman's performances this season, only Salah has played more minutes out of Liverpool's attackers, with Salah consistently relying on the 26-year-old, with Florian Wirtz also producing his best performance of the season against Real Madrid in that position, and YNWA seeming like he could explode into life at any moment. I don't think it's controversial to say there may be better ways for Liverpool to spend that money during a season where Slot appears to be struggling to integrate new signings to a team in transition. Adding another attacking player without a preseason to settle seems like it could be counterproductive. Despite that, if the Reds see Semenyo as a player they want long-term, the threat of added competition may be enough to make the early move worth it to set up for the future.
Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.